there, kids! It's me, your family-friendly, legally dissimilar mascot, who's helping out the biggest business in the world that owns the majority shareholder of everything! We just want to make you happy.
But what if we weren't? What if we wanted to scare you? What if the world you knew and loved was transformed into a hideous monstrosity warped by evil and chaos, and it was up to you to move through familiar settings that were once great but now are twisted and warped, and only you can rescue them from the evil Cthulhuian darkness!
But don't worry, we would never do anything like that. After all, we're deep and we have an image to maintain. After all, that comes above any creative artistic integrity or ideas. So don't worry.
Have you ever seen some of those old Mickey Mouse cartoons back in the day? No, not those anti-Nazi ones with Donald Duck, though those are pretty interesting too. I mean stuff like The Mad Doctor. Mickey used to be dark and interesting. Even as animation progressed, Disney wasn't afraid to make something wonderfully dark. Bold Mountain in Fantasia, The Witch in Snow White, Judge Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Mickey chopping apart the broom in a frenzy of bloodlust that would do an otter proud. That one was in Fantasia too, actually.
This is not Disney. This is the postmodernist Disney where dark and fanboy are the name of the game. I'd love a Disney game in which Mickey is the hero, where he takes my family and me through the parks and through Disney history, but this is just too edgy, too different, too far off the mark. Apart from a few cute moments, we didn't think there was much to appeal to anyone under the age of 25 or so, who is already jaded and feels the world is dark and gloomy. What happened to the Disney that emphasized what's right in the world? What happened to Mickey being comedic and clever and cute? This just felt too off the mark for us. Maybe for some hardcore gamers it would be good, but not for families and kids. My 4-year-old son wanted this game for Christmas. This game is rated A and Disney's Mickey Mouse. How bad can it be? It's Disney, Mickey Mouse. Should be child appropriate, no doubt. Let me tell you, it is as inappropriate for a child as it isn't funny. It is terrible. This game starts off by Mickey being dragged through a mirror in the middle of the night by a demon creature and then strapped down to a table by his wrists and ankles. A screw, scissors, and chainsaw. Yes, a chainsaw along with an evil scientist type man, then proceed to take shots at him while he's strapped down. It is terrifying for a child. Who wants to see Mickey Mouse tortured? My husband and I could not believe our eyes. Who are the sickos that made Mickey into a violent, dark, scary game? Walt Disney would be rolling over in his grave right now, or freezing.
Oh man. I mean, I laughed at the 10 out of 10 reviews for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. But those sound founded and reasonable compared to these real reviews for Epic Mickey! That creepy doctor that the last one mentioned, you've seen him. That's the Mad Doctor, a classic Mickey cartoon. The torture scene, that was from the first era of Disney when things were under the direct supervision of your gleaming icon Walt. But this also all assumes one very simple thing, that Epic Mickey is scary. I mean, I would hate to tread on the fragile sensibilities of any of the pitifully inconsequential little... Wait, no. The opposite of that, actually. I love treading on their sensibilities. I love feeling them crumble between my fingers like the elegant sandcastles they are before the tide of actual thought and ideas. For the sake of your Walt Disney in the sky, Mickey's big torture scene is them trying to pull out his heart with a plunger. Ooh, terrifying. And there's nothing evil about Mickey. No matter how you play the game, Mickey is the hero coming to save Disney World.
Actually, you're wrong, Otter.
Who are you? Oh, and how did you get in my recording room?
I am totally legally dissimilar mascot, speaking in defense of the Disney Corporation. Registered trademark.
You're here to shill
I mean-
Disney at me.
Someone has to tell you you're just wrong. You're not even in Disney World for one thing. It's a totally different place.
Fine. Whatever. Legally dissimilar
You don't
Disney.
have to be the hero, Mickey.
TM.
Also, you don't have to be the hero, Mickey. How you play affects the world around you and the way that NPCs look at you. Will you be the true hero of the wasteland and use the magic of paint to solve the problems that face you? Or will you be a force of evil and use thinner?
Except that thinner or paint isn't a morality question. The game constantly tries to paint your choices as having meaning.
Paint.
Alright, let me back up and do what Foxy here isn't. Give you an explanation.
The game opens with Mickey destroying the wasteland by being a curious dolt. He then goes back to sleep as if nothing happens, but the evil he set loose is still watching, waiting to go strong enough to break through into his world and drag him in too. He's able to grab the magical paintbrush from the Fantasia wizard on his way in. You can either paint the world and enemies, which will restore the world and make enemies into allies, or you can use thinner to completely destroy the world and enemies. The game hammers home that if you use thinner, then you're evil, but it's honestly a false choice. Setting aside the disturbing implications of forcing your enemies into being allies and fundamentally forcing a change in their opinions being the heroic option, there's no real difference between paint and thinner. There are lots of puzzles that require you to use thinner to destroy the world around you despite it being evil. Not just that, but some puzzles' hero solution is just requiring you to put up with the idiotic characters that populate the wasteland. For example, you climb up this building, fighting the camera's desperate attempts to murder you throughout your ascent to free the gremlin at the top. In gratitude for you rescuing him from a glass cage, which makes no sense by the way since all gremlins can teleport, he'll solve the entire puzzle for you to progress in the game, as long as you pay him an obscene amount of tickets. If you're not willing to pay him, you're being evil.
There's one thing that will always be true about being evil, however. It will take about 3 times less than being a hero. It's much less about not making evil decisions and much more about the fact that you refuse to go find 20 of something or complete an arbitrary fetch quest. For instance, in this one area, you have to lower a bridge.
There is no point to this area, no actual story to uncover, nothing to really do. It only exists to add time onto the game and prevent you from simply moving from the hub world to the actual area that matters. But to open it, you have to go through a stupid series of events. First, go talk to everyone in the town who will tell you that the gremlin you need to open the gate is locked inside of the safe dangling off a building. Unfortunately, the town idiot has chosen to stand directly underneath the vase and refuses to get out of my way! But he'll let you open the safe if he could just remember the code for it. His memory is just so bad, though, because his house looks so depressing, and maybe if someone went and painted in his house, he could remember. I was attempting not to continue to be evil after the game had yelled at me because I didn't realize that I could paint a boss in order to defeat it. It'll take about 3 times as long if you use paint, but apparently you can. So, having been properly scolded like a schoolboy who had used a calculator in class, I gritted my teeth and I painted his house so that he would open the safe for me. Instead, he remembered the code and told me to go solve a jumping puzzle.
See, when you help those around you, it just feels
So I dropped a safe on him. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I couldn't begin to guess where the jumping puzzle started, and I couldn't care less. And, okay, let's be real. If he is so stupid that he does not realize not to stand directly underneath a precarious and barely supported safe, then he was so stupid the impact wouldn't even register.
Well, I'm sure you went right back to being a hero after that, didn't you, Slugger?
Of course I did. Right after I murdered a sentient telephone.
See, it's not enough to release the gremlin. That wouldn't waste enough of your time. So then the game makes you talk to the living telephone in your house because it turns out he was the one that locked the gremlin inside the safe and stole his wrench. He won't tell you where the wrench is hidden, though, because he's threatened by the gremlin. It's almost like if you steal someone's precious belongings and lock them in a safe so that no one can get to them without murdering the village idiot, they'll want revenge. But the game somehow felt I should feel bad for the phone about his actions. But don't worry, if you find 5 unpainted phone boxes hidden around the town that are pretty much completely see-through and are rendered even harder to find by the impossible camera angles, then he'll tell you where the wrench is. Or you can walk back outside your house and let the gremlin go inside and give the obnoxious phone what's coming to him. Take a guess which I picked.
And that's how the hero works every time. It's the difference between actually getting through the game and wasting obscene amounts of time on pointless fetch quests. But despite that, I tried to be a hero for the rest of the game. Although I was not going to waste my time finding things that were so obscurely hidden that they would either waste so much of my time to find, or I'd have to pull out a walkthrough.
The game yelled at me because the pirates couldn't go back to their home and had to stay in the jungle. Why? Because I didn't find a missing person. The best instance where I was branded evil was also in that pirate zone. At the start of the game, I was told that paint and thinner could affect machinery. Filling a machine's tank with paint will fix the machine, and filling it with thinner will break it. So when you go to the pirate zone, you are told over and over you have to destroy the machine that's turning pirates into evil robots. You have to destroy the device that's turning the pirates evil. Make sure you destroy the device!
Pop quiz time, kids! Who can remember, how do you destroy machines in the world of Epic Mickey? Why, that's right, kids! We fill the tank with thinner! Except for this time. Because using thinner is evil, and you deserve to go right to hell for that answer. That's right, kids. Hell is real, and you all belong down there for being so stupid. It's an evil pirate machine. You fill the tank with paint because thinner is evil. God, you're even more stupid than the man that stood underneath the safe. How could you do that?
So what do you think of our game? Isn't it great to be a heroic Mickey Mouse, registered trademark, while still playing it your way?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I being too subtle? The game sucked!
I want to like Epic Mickey, because the initial idea sounded fascinating, but Disney couldn't let an actually creative idea by, and had to make sure their Mickey game was wholesome, that you got wrapped across the knuckles every time you reached for that thinner bucket, and even when you were evil, it wasn't really evil. Things couldn't be actually scary looking because it might upset the kiddies. Even though apparently the little babies were still frightened by anything that wasn't saccharine enough to make Kirby vomit. On top of an absolutely broken morality system, the controls were kicked out the nest to fly before they were even out of the egg. Your only attack functions, all being tied to motion controls, just makes them so bad. Aiming the paint is unreliable at best. The camera is constantly doing its utmost to make sure you have no idea what's going on in the level around you. Blind jumps are acquired way too often, and in the end levels, the game likes to add gaps that you need to double jump across at the maximum possible distance, but when you delay the second jump as long as is needed, the game also likes to ignore the second input because you waited too long. The story is fairly meaningless as well. I still can't tell you why some of the bosses had anything to do with the game, or why I was required to go to certain places other than to kill time so that the game wouldn't be as short. On top of that, about 70% of all the content in the game isn't in the service of the game. Instead, its goal is for you to collect shiny pins. Do any of you remember how obsessed some people get with collecting the Disney Park pins? Whoever made the pin system must be one of those people. They don't unlock anything, they don't do anything, they're literally just pins. Even the pins in real life at least all look different and represent somewhere you've been. These are the exact same image every time, in bronze, silver, and gold. Even something I was excited for turned out to be meaningless. To travel from level to level, you go through a side-scrolling platformer stage, themed after a classic Mickey Mouse cartoon. I can't begin to express how excited I was to play the level themed after clock cleaners. It was one of my favorite shorts on one of the best VHSs my Grammy owned when I was little.
The big collectible in each 2D level is a movie clip, and I was sure this meant I would get to see the old clips. I'd see these old shows that I saw when I was little again. Going above and beyond to see some of the old Mickey cartoons would have been fun, interesting, and well worth it. Notice though I said would have been. There's no way Disney really would have let you see those cartoons for free, was there? Instead, in compensation for collecting those movie clips you unlock, fake currency that only stands to let you buy in-game items. Thank you, oh great and powerful Disney, for knowing exactly what we really want. Thinking of that, there's no chance that Disney will not copyright claim this video, despite all the footage you're seeing being for the purpose of review and critique, thus is under fair use. It is in that spirit this is about to happen. Blame Disney. There. Now that should at least make sure that they can make money off of what's my hard work, frankly. Now what did you... Don't you have anything good to say about our game? I mean, it's a game your kids might enjoy. Assuming that they aren't pitiful and can handle how scary it is, they'll probably have fun with it. I remember playing this game when it came out, and I was young enough to still not appreciate a good story, and I enjoyed the jumping puzzles and finding the pins. For adults that know better, there's not really anything here worth playing, though. Sure, it'd probably at least be enjoyable to watch your kid play, which renders it tolerable, but with all of that said, your child probably won't finish it. And I kinda hope they don't. All that moral choice nonsense adds up to an absolutely meaningless ending. You see a few of the interactions that you had in every boss fight, and either everything is disgustingly happy and perfect, or so depressingly dark that Batman would tell the residents to shut up and smile already. Then it shows you the same ending where everyone loves Mickey and he saved the day, regardless of how perfectly good or perfectly evil you were. I went out of my way to be evil as little as possible, partially so the game would stop complaining at every turn, and partially because I believed it would make a difference in the ending. But it doesn't. All I really did was waste a lot of my time doing the deliberately tedious, good series of events, when I could have just gotten this game over with so much faster being evil, and gotten the exact same ending where everyone loves me, presumably because I'm Mickey. Everybody loves Mickey. Actually, no, I really can't stand the mouse. The game was so drawn out, too. If you took every bit that felt like it was merely buying time and cut out all the meaningless extra crap that only exists to collect movie rules and pins, then the game would only be an hour or two long. And if they'd done that, I honestly think I might have been more charitable to the game. But as it stands, the game wasted my time with several of the levels, yelled at me for not putting up with it trying to jerk me around, and all the while failed the potential it had for fear of actually being creative. If you got a kid, by all means, let them have their fun. Just don't waste your own time, and have something else ready for when they inevitably get bored and move on. Walt Disney would be rolling over in his grave right now, or freezer. I think I accidentally went Australian there. Or freezer, mate. Oh, God, it's so hot on my hands.